Okay, so I feel like boundaries has become such a buzzword lately. And I don't know, I get quite excited about it because for me, I love your face already. We love it. Because I find I have been a chronic people pleaser for a lot of my life. So I find that it's actually very empowering for someone who hasn't been able to tune into what they want and then have the courage to be able to express it is really great. So I'm like so pro for boundaries. What are your thoughts on boundaries too? Because I'm curious.
Look, I'm for boundaries as well.
Yeah.
So I'm not anti-boundaries.
Yeah.
I'm maybe pro-flexibility. And I agree that TikTok and Instagram algorithms love to tell us about boundaries at the moment. It's such a buzz topic. But what I find is missing from the conversation is the flip side. Like, yes, let's do boundaries. And where are all the TikToks telling us how to do the repair and the hard conversations and the being flexible with boundaries or toughing it out with someone, even if we're upset by something they've done. Like, I feel like the pendulum has swung too far in one direction, and now everyone wants to over communicate their boundaries. And I think yes, it's great to have them. But I guess when we kind of see this mass movement in public discourse, we want to make sure that it's that we're not going too far in one direction. And I think we potentially run the risk of that at the moment.
Yeah, totally. So what I'm curious about, what actually are boundaries? Because I know we've kind of shared a bit of our personal opinions.
Yes. So I like to, I didn't come up with this. I sort of read this somewhere, but I like to think of boundaries as being a gate, not a wall.
Oh my God, I've heard of that too.
Did you say it? Is that where I got it from?
I don't know. No, I don't know. But I really like that.
Yes. I like the analogy. I like the visual. And when we're thinking about boundaries, we're thinking about what we need for ourselves. Boundaries are about us, not about other people. And I think we run the risk with some of the current discourse that we have around boundaries, where they can be intentionally or unintentionally used as a way of trying to control other people. And that's really not what it is. It's not about the other person. It's about what we need for ourselves in a dynamic with someone. And I think that's the core thing, coming back to what we need. Yeah,
I think that's really cool because it's very easy when you think of boundaries for it to feel like a wall. Like it's a full stop. That's it. That's what it's set. Because I've definitely, I've heard from friends or I've experienced it where people are setting a boundary, right? But it's coming across as quite aggressive and unkind. So in their world, they're probably thinking, oh, I'm standing up for myself. But they're actually kind of being a bit mean and a bit of a dick in the process. And it's just really interesting. It's like we're kind of weaponizing the term.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's where we run the risk of using boundaries to try and control other people, as opposed to set limits and ideas for ourselves as to what we do and don't want.
Yeah. And it's good because I think something you did speak to, and I completely agree on, we need more conversations around repair because it is such an important skill to develop, especially for young people. It's so good to learn those skills young because there is going to be conflict in life. Things aren't going to go your way. You're going to be in workspaces where you're not going to get along with people. And it's just really important to kind of, tough it out. Who offers the best advice in your family? Is it you? Play the Medibank Family Roast to find out. A card game designed to get families connecting and talking. Because when the bonds of family are stronger, Australia is stronger. So get around the dinner table. A tasty conversation is about to be served. Search Medibank Family Roast. Live better with Medibank.
I also think with that, because I'm thinking about what you said about people in workspaces and stuff, boundaries these days run the risk, I think, of being too rigid. And I think, again, perhaps some of the nuance that's missing in the discourse that we have or the TikTok videos that we see is flexibility around boundaries. And again, that idea of it's not a wall, it's a gate, or maybe it's kind of bubble wrap and it's see-through and movable, right? A boundary, boundaries have become or have been thought of as being very fixed.
Yes.
And I think in certain situations, yes, that is absolutely necessary, but probably in a lot of situations it's not. And so I think if we change our idea and relationship to boundaries as perhaps something that's not static, but it can be fluid and flexible and changes perhaps day to day or moment to moment or week to week or with the people that we're with. If we think about boundaries as being more fluid, I think we will do it will be better for us.
Yeah, I really love that. And I think like what you're kind of speaking to is a healthy way of setting boundaries.
To add to that, I also think the conversations that have been had around boundaries have been perhaps with a very Western lens. And if we think about cultural differences here, I think we really see vast differences in terms of how different cultural groups relate to the concept of boundaries. And we know that in a westernized world, there is an increased focus on the individual and autonomy and sense of identity and sense of self versus other cultural groups that are perhaps more collectivist in their viewpoints, where the individual is perhaps not the primary priority, but rather it's about the collective group and a value system within our family or within our community, which means that we might seem like someone who's more willing to compromise our boundaries, but that's because the value perhaps sits differently for someone of that cultural group as opposed to someone who's got a more Western view.
That's a really good point to raise.
And as a therapist, I think that's really important. It's something that I kind of keep front of mind, that one person walking in the room will have a different perspective on how they value boundaries compared to someone of a different family background and cultural group, where actually honoring the family feels more important than holding an individual boundary.
And I really like that you touched on the special word values, because it does come up a lot, and it is, there's so many, you could say it's very multifaceted in a way. There's so many variables that we've got to consider. Yeah. So what does it look like to set a healthy boundary in your life? Because I'm sure there's people listening being like, like, give me the breakdown. Like, what can they start to action?
I know the word, but what do I do?
Yeah. You're like, this is nice. And
yes. So first things first, we need to notice and recognize within ourselves that perhaps we need to put a boundary in place. And the best way to do that is by tuning into our internal experience. So some kind of flags to look out for within yourself are feelings of resentment. You know, if we start to feel really resentful to someone, that's probably a good indicator that we need to kind of stop, reconsider the situation, what's going on, and kind of reassess our position in all of it. Once we've recognized the need for a boundary, we need to be able to get clear on what that boundary is for ourselves. I often say that people should kind of practice communicating that boundary just to themselves before they actually share it with someone else. This is where if you can't say it in one sentence, the chances are the other person isn't necessarily going to receive it with clarity. So get clear on what the boundary is and how you're going to communicate it. And then from that, have the conversation with the person. This is where we really want to lean into I statements, talk about what I need, my feelings, my experiences, and how the other person can help support that. So again, it's about what I'm feeling and what I need, not about what they need to do.
I really love this, and I think it's super clear. And I think it's interesting too, because for those out there that have struggled to set boundaries in the past, like I know for me, it can be really scary. Like in my body, like you're feeling like you're breaking away from old conditioning and patterns. So it's like really holding those parts of you that are maybe acting out or might be a bit scared, because it's fair enough that you're feeling those bodily sensations because you haven't been here before. And I think that's why it's really important to lean on other people, like what you were saying before around, you know, maybe talking it out with someone before. Maybe you need to write it down, like try to find a strategy that works for you. Yeah.